Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the Hot Seat. I am your hostess with the mostest, P. Coffee Brown, and we have a bossed out panel for you tonight. We're talking about an interesting topic, a very interesting topic called narcissism. So, we're going to get this panel popping and get this conversation going. It is a full panel of incredible men of color. So please welcome tonight's guests, Pastor Jason Hendrickson, Taylor Made Speaks, Jason Thibodeau, Jason Williams, and Charles Dixon. What's up, everybody? Welcome. As you're coming in,
Good.
go ahead and spread the wealth. Let others know that you guys are here with us. What's going on? IG, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So welcome, everybody. So guys, go ahead, spread the wealth on your pages. You can spread it directly from my page, and we'll be able to get this party started tonight. So we're talking about narcissism. This show is dedicated to a young lady that DM'd me about narcissism. And so we're going to get into that in just a couple of seconds. In the meantime, we're going to be spreading this wealth on our platforms. So you guys can tune in, tap in, and come on and hang out with us for a dope conversation with these incredible men tonight. So let's introduce the fellas while we're doing the sharing and spreading the wealth. So what's going on, Pastor Jay? Welcome to the panel. What's happening with you?
Hey, what's good, everybody? How y'all doing? Thank you for having me. And I'm looking forward to another amazing conversation.
That's what's up. That is what's up. So welcome. Welcome. Thank you for being on with us tonight, Pastor Jay. I know it's getting ready to get popping and crazy up in here. I got Toxic Bay in the building again. Toxic Bay is in the building. I was like, listen, you got to be here because you are the definition of Toxic Bay. Taylor May, what's going on with you?
How you doing, Miss P. Coffee Brown? Look, I'm telling you, I am ready for this conversation. I just can't wait until I jump into it, and it feels good to be with the other fellas on the platform. I love having these conversations, especially you get a plethora. I think that's the correct word of plethora of different perspectives, and not only perspective but just life journey, right? Experiences. So I'm it's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome stuff. Charles Dixon, what's happening with you?
Good evening, everyone. It's always a pleasure to be on the platform, of course, with my brothers. Love chopping up with these guys. So I'm looking forward to an exciting show tonight.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Charles. So you're not excited to see me, Charles?
No, not at all. But the show's be good.
All right, you sure right. They got this button called remove.
Oh, good.
Jason Williams, what's happening? You don't have on no hat tonight. What's going on, Jay Williams?
I had a hat on all weekend, sweating it out, playing for people all weekend. So I just felt like giving my head a break. That's all. Just need to breathe. Just need to breathe a little bit.
He needs to breathe. All right. Okay. All right. Breathable hair. All right. All right. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Jason Tibnibs, actor extraordinaire. What's going on with you?
Man, nothing much. Actually, I just spent most of last night reading the script for another movie. So, things are happening. But I'm happy to be here with my bros again. Like I said, I'm ready to get some things popping. Let's see if we can either help somebody or
make somebody upset.
I don't care. We can enlighten. It is what it is.
It is what it is. All right, guys. So tonight's segment is about narcissism. I see Leonard is coming in, but I'm waiting on him to get on screen before we have him come up in the actual camera with us. But tonight we're talking about narcissism. So I had a young lady who DM'd me, and she clearly said, P. Coffee, I need your help. I am constantly finding myself attracted to guys who are narcissistic. It's just repeated over and over again. Every time I turn around, I meet somebody new. I think that they are a good fit for me and I'm a good fit for them. And then here comes those same tendencies, that same behavior. And, she and I were going back and forth in the chat, and she seemed to be really, really frustrated about it. And she was like, I just really want to have a healthy relationship and I just can't seem to find one. And so I said to her, I said, have you thought about the fact that you might be narcissistic? And that's the reason why you keep attracting guys like that? And so she kind of gave me her character traits and stuff like that and said, no, I don't think that's what it is. I just think that for some weird reason, I have this attraction to men who are narcissistic, and I want to get freed of it. And I don't know how. I don't know what to do. I don't know why I'm attracted to them. And my brain is just like, clearly you're attracting what you are. But obviously that could be somewhat of the case, but there's so many other variables inside of that. So we're going to talk about this tonight because she needs your help. And I know it's some other woman somewhere else that needs the same information. Is attracted to guys who are narcissistic. And I know that this particular definition of the word, it's been over the past 10 years where it's just really, really kind of gotten to be a household conversation. Whereas before there wasn't a name for it. It was just somebody was an A. And we just moved on from there. But now they've given a clinical terminology for the behavior. And let's talk about this. Let's talk about what's going on with us as ladies. If I want y'all to break this down from the perspective of, my brother is telling me about this dude. I'm telling my brother about this dude, and he's trying to help me to get myself together. Period. I want y'all to break it down like that. I don't want you to don't hold back. I want y'all to be very forthcoming and just give it to the ladies straight when it comes to this. What's going on when it comes to us finding ourselves attracted to these narcissistic type guys? What's going on with that? Charles, we can start with you. Charles, you want to come off mute if you want to tell me what you want to say, huh?
You muted us all auto mute. Anyway, so perhaps sometimes the word denial comes to mind as to what you may desire in that man that reflects narcissism. Let's just be honest. If somebody is narcissistic, 9 times out of 10, you're going to view them as they're overly confident. They have, they're too sure of themselves. All these things that I guess that could deem the person someone they can't control or manipulate. So as a result, what I've learned and what I've seen happening over time, it just seems like when we have struggles in these relationships, we have to resort to labels. Instead of just saying, hey, maybe me and this person is just not aligned. Maybe I'm not meant for this person, so on and so forth. It doesn't mean because the relationship it breaks and all of a sudden, telling me he's so toxic and narcissist. No, he just wasn't for you. Simple as that. And I think we have to stop spreading that negative vitriol around like we have been, So, I mean, unless you're going to somebody's going to come out and just define what the word really means and stand behind it. Stop.
You know what? I'm getting ready to do that right now since you said that. Yeah. All right. So, okay. So let's just put it. Let me just give you the information on here that gives us the 10 signs of somebody who's narcissist. Okay. So you got a person that's lacking empathy. You've got why is it not giving me this? And just come on, don't do this to me today. We're trying to have a talk show. We ain't got time for no foolishness. In the interim, while I'm getting that together on my side, okay, somebody's got feedback in their in the interim, while I'm doing that, TaylorMade, hop in while I look this information up because somebody's background has feedback.
Oh, I got the information for you if you want it.
Oh, go ahead, Jason. Go ahead.
Oh, trust me, I did my homework on this one. Symptoms of a narcissist are being overly boastful, exaggerating one's achievements, pretending to be superior to others, lack of empathy for others, looking down on others as inferior, monopolizing conversations, impatient, angry, unhappy, depressed, or has mood swings when criticized, easily disappointed when expected importance is not given, always craves the best in everything, and has a very fragile self-esteem.
Whew. Taylor, come on, hop in here. That's a lot.
No, 100%. I think that Jason said it very well. And later down in the program, I'm going to share something that's going to be a mind blower to not only the panel but to the viewers also, because narcissism that we're talking about one spectrum, but there's another spectrum that I'm going to reveal a little later. But 100%, I think that everyone has a little of narcissism. That's a characteristic trait that's in them. Now, let me just say this. Most people that's in front of the cameras have a little narcissism trait. There's a test that you can go and take for yourself, and you can see what areas that you might touch on that's more stronger than the other. But I think that the ones
Taylor,
that
be sure to tell us where to take the exam.
Oh, 100%. I'll make sure I do the research. But I think that most people that's in powerful positions, let's talk about Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Condoleezza Rice. We're talking about pastors. We're talking about people that's in the forefront. What makes that mechanic go, right? If you look at some of the traits, I think strong leaders have to be in the forefront, right? They have to lead from the front. And so if we look at some of the narcissistic traits, right, where you're building a platform, if you're building a platform, the platform is all about you. Let's just get it. I know some people want to say, well, the platform is about other people. And so here's what happens, right? A lot of people are attracted to leaders, right? And so when you dig deep down inside and when the news pops up and you say, oh my God, I didn't know this person is like this, right? We hear all these unraveling stories about leaders, right? We have all unraveling stories about celebrities. But behind those things, do you think that a person in a boardroom is just cool, calm, and collect? We talk about the guy that does the iPhone, he's passed, right? Apple, right? We heard all the horrible stories behind that. I think he had some strong narcissistic traits. We talk about Hillary Clinton, right? To make that machine move. We talk about our former president, right? I forgot his name, Donald Trump, right? We see that power that's behind. What is that power? That's self-gratification. A lot of these people don't need this visibility. Let's just call it what it is. They got the money. So if they got the money, then what is the driving force, right? It's the fame, it's the attention, it's that yearning desire to be important, to be number one, right? And so a lot of us, and I'm just speaking from a high level, but there's people that's in everyday life that want to be that way. We see it all the time on social media, right? Always in front of the camera, doing your makeup, doing your face. And I'm not bashing anybody or shaming anybody that does that. But what is that driving force? Why do you have to be obsessed in front of the camera 24/7, 7 days a week? What is that obsession, right? What is that posting, I'm posting, right? Now I post 100%, right? I build my platform. No one helped me. I did it all myself. Would you say that there's a little narcissism inside of me? 100%. That's what moves the train. It's called leadership. Leadership moves the train, right? Leadership drives the force. Leadership is the importance of getting your message out there. Your message, right? You're bringing the message, not no one else, right? And so like I said, there's a test that you can take. Now, some people might not agree with what I'm saying, right? But do the research. I always love to say do the research, but I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to pass it back to you. But there's some other things because we're talking about people in relationships and why they are attracted to these leaders. Because remember, narcissists, individual, are leaders. I'm just going to call it like it is. They have a makeup about themselves that leads, and people are attracted to leaders, right? You never have a narcissist that's quiet. Is leaders quiet? No, leaders have a path, a mission, a vision, and they set forth to do what they're called to do, right? It doesn't matter what kind of leading it is, whether it's negative, whether it's positive, it's still leadership, right? They're able to gather a group of people in a gathering, right? Deliver a message, influence people, right? Narcissists, we love influential, right? We love to influence, we love to speak. We love to speak to individuals and get them on our side, right? We do that all the time. And that's why when it comes to relationships, how why is it that narcissist is in relationships? Because we're influential, right? We are charming, right? We know we have the gift of gab. We know how to talk, right? I know I'm saying we like I'm one, but but to say this, no, I'm just being honest. Like we all have these different traits, whether you believe it or not, right? Any area that you excel in, if you look at the traits and you look at the area that you're excelling in, you can take some of that and be like, you know what? Yeah, I got a little of this. I know I got a little of that, but I'm going to stop right there.
So let me ask Pastor Jay, when does it become negative? Based on what Taylor is saying, and I'm kind of inclined to lean to agreeing with him on that. As far as all of us, well, I mean that's common sense. That's like all of us have certain makeups, and some of it is just more magnified than others. But when does it become negative? When does it become a problem? Because evidently, this lady that's messaging me about habitually being attracted to a narcissistic male, it's obviously it's a problem.
Hmm. I think it gets it becomes a problem when it becomes excessive, and people have to understand you attract what you respect. So if she keeps attracting that, it's because something inside of her respects those traits and looks for that. It could have been she may have saw that growing up in her dad or some male figure in her life, but something in her relates to that and is actually attracted to it. And probably doesn't want to stop, but knows she should stop. You know what I mean? Because at some point you have to look at the results. And I was just talking to somebody earlier about that. Attraction is such a funny thing. It's very powerful. And when it's not managed correctly, you will find yourself attaching to things that are detrimental to you and people that are detrimental to you. And everything that looks good isn't good for you. Everything that tastes good isn't good for you. So you have to really find out as an individual and understand that we are all created to be relational. So that whole thing, I'm just gonna be by myself until no, that throw that out the window, because that's not how you were designed. That's not in the makeup. That wasn't in the mind of God when He made any of us. We were all made to be relational, but it's about finding the right people that you can open yourself to, that you can avail your ideas and your ideologies to, and even your flaws and your weaknesses, and they don't use that against you, because narcissists find out your flaws and your weaknesses and use that to their advantage, and they build on that, and when they drain you, they just move on to the next victim. So I think that a lot of times we allow narcissistic behavior because we allow it. If I detect that in anybody, male, female, whoever, you got some boundaries, because where there's no boundaries, there's no safety. So, once you detect that in somebody, it's up to you, because a narcissist will never stop taking. Never. That is their DNA. That's their makeup. That's their goal. And when they finish draining you, on to the next victim. So, when you detect it, you have to make a move, because they won't.
Okay. Jason Williams, you kind of sideways.
He done got tricked up.
Sideways, boys in a day.
Yeah, his thing is okay. So he's his okay. So he should be back. He gonna be back after he get that situation rectified. But Jason Thibodeau,
What's up?
you've heard from Charles and Pastor Jay and Taylor about this narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
I know you are an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And part of your acting, it is required of you to possibly be a little narcissistic based on the characteristics that Taylor brought up.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're drawing in an audience. You got to keep these people engaged and keep them intrigued and captivated and all that good stuff. So would you agree that in the field that you're in that it's almost to be a little more expected to run into a narcissistic type of personality?
Well, you see, Coffee, what ends up happening. No, this is what's yeah. So straight up, yeah. You have to be confident. Like I said, I agree with everything that everybody has said so far. And let's see if I can tie this all together from what I've been hearing. I agree with what everybody is saying. But yes, to be in the field that I am in, you do have to be able to convey narcissism. You have to be confident. I mean, if you've ever been to a stage play, that is probably the most vulnerable you could be. Because if you just have a camera there and you mess up, they say cut and you do it again and again and again and again. In a stage play, soon as those lights come up and that music start, it is on and popping. There is no stop. You know what I mean? So you just make do with whatever happens. And you have to have that level of confidence and you have to know the story. See, that's another thing, like what Taylor May was talking about. Most narcissists, they know their story because they're going to push their story on you, whether you want it or not. If you're with them, you're going to be with them. You know what I'm saying? And whatever that endeavor is. But let me see if I can like tie some of this together. Because like I said, I agree with everything that I keep hearing. But then again, I'm going to make it sting a little bit. So I've always believed that what it is that you're looking for is looking for you. So if you're out here and you keep attracting that same thing, then there's either traits in you that are narcissistic and that are attracting other leaders or narcissists or wannabe leaders or whatever, or you're just addicted to what you feel is power, like what Taylor was saying. So most leaders have very strong narcissistic traits. They have to. That's the reason why they bump heads like they do whenever somebody disagrees, right? But the thing is, that's what attracts you, if you're not careful, can also repel you or should. So what I'm saying with that is also what Mr. Dixon was talking about. People, especially these days, love to throw around that word. Everybody's a narcissist when they're in that butthole to. I almost cursed on your show, Coffee. Everybody's a narcissist when they're a butthole to me and everything else. Well, look at P. Diddy. Look at Master P. Look at Birdman. Look at Trump. Look at all these people. You gonna tell me that none of them are a-holes at times, especially when they don't get their way? So what you think you're up against? See, I'm trying to be somewhat nice, but this is what I'm gonna end up saying here, and this is also going along with what Mr. Dixon was saying. I'm gonna say it in a way that he won't say it on this show. Let me ask you, baby girl, is he truly a narcissist, or is he just a dude that ain't putting up with your shit? And what I mean by that is,
And Charles gave a heavy thumbs up for that.
hey, but I'm just saying, because sometimes if you, and this is what I'm saying, not everybody's a narcissist. Everybody has narcissistic traits, but not everybody's a narcissist. So if you're being pushy or you being a brat, or if you're just sitting here nagging or whatever the case may be, not to say that you may not have a reason to do it, but if you're doing a whole bunch of that and you're dealing with a strong-minded individual, and this goes for male or female, if you're dealing with a strong-minded individual, they're going to say something to you, and either you're going to deal with it or you're not. So if you keep dealing with these same type of people and you keep getting the same results, at some point, is it just what you're attracting and what you really like? Or do you need to go take a look in the mirror and start judging your damn self? Because if you keep getting the same results and it's something about you, Cat Williams said it best. If you keep attracting ain't crap dudes, maybe you an ain't crap girl. And that goes for male and female. I'm not taking a shot at you or anything else like that. I'm just saying that to prove a point. I'm trying to make it sting a little bit, because sometimes you can talk nice to people. Other times you got to make it sting a little bit. If that's what you're attracting and you're like, well, I keep finding this and I need to find something different. What's your setting? Change your setting. Whether it's at church, whether it's wherever else. Maybe you need a new church. Maybe you need a new grocery store. maybe you need some new friends. I mean, or maybe you just need to stop complaining and just deal with what it is that you're dealing with. I mean, that's a little tough love. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even directing that just directly at you, the young lady who wrote that. But I mean, there's people out there in podcast land that need to hear some of this. Are you truly complaining? Do you really want help? Or do you just like listening to yourself talk? Or are you playing a victim? Because you said that you keep finding the same person. But what is it that you're doing? I'll rest my mic.
Ooh. Hey, Leonard.
Hi there. How are you?
Leonard, you know, they kind of really just beat the poor child all the way up.
No, that
No, it's
a similar
uh,
story.
I think it's facts. I have one counter. I agree with everything everyone said, but one thing we have to take into consideration for our professions and line of businesses, we try to be perfectionists. That is one of the traits of a person that is embedded in that behavior. But being a perfectionist and leading is something that you're doing to expand your brand in certain cases, to form allegiances and alignments with other people that are like-minded as you are, and not necessarily to the detriment of others. Where it goes to the extreme, I think, in relationships is you have one person coming in strong-minded that will exploit every weakness of that prey that's standing before them. And I think if you're going in the line of business, it's a whole different ballgame. If you're standing in that spectrum where you're dealing with relationships, obviously, human nature, Psycho 101. If you're engaging a weak-minded person, and typically for any standard human person that is functioning with all their brain cells working, if you see that person that's standing before you presenting a weak a weak stance towards you and how they interact with you, you'll find a way to bring out your dominance in one form or another. For a narcissistic type person, they will eat that person and spit them up alive, because all of their traits, look at me, pay attention to me, wash at me, do as I say, and it's all about me, me, me along the way. Now, if you're dealing in a business platform where you're trying to sell something, whether you're trying to convey or convince other people to see your brand, that level of which you extend yourself and you portray that sense of belonging to those people, that, hey, take a look at what I have to say or what I have to sell, and bring them along. Yes, you need leadership skills to execute that, but not at their detriment, because basically you're trying to give them something in some positive form that would better their lives. The narcissistic person in a relationship, they don't care about whether your life is better. They're ripping you apart from the start to the end. And the moment you give an inch, like most of us said on the comments earlier, the person who's stepping into that mix, if you sell yourself short, you will lay down with every flea on the market. If the first time somebody crosses that line, and you can definitely push back and say, okay, wait a second, this person is going to the extreme. Whether it is, hey, you're 5 minutes late for dinner, the world stops. Hey, I'm wearing $1,000 suit, but you can wear that $50 dress and we can still go out and rock. But when I walk into that room, everybody's looking at crazy ass Leonard and say, oh, he looks fly. But whoever is on their right side of their arm or left, they don't care about that person. It's all about me. People like that, when you deal and you engage with that, you have to see it from the beginning, Because if the guy shows you he's a jackass from the beginning and he's selfish and all about himself, he's just going to multiply along the way. So on a business platform, and when you're dealing with other people that you're trying to engage with and make their lives better, I think that those traits just help you do better, because you're not trying to rip them apart. You're trying to bring them along to understand where you're coming from. Now, in a relationship stance, I think it's a whole different ballgame. And I don't necessarily, I'm a weirdo, but I always like to look at both sides of the spectrum. Narcissistic animals breed and live everywhere. So whether they go to church, whether they go bowling, whether they go to soccer games, they're all over the place. Now, they might not put the red flag up and say, look at me, I'm one of those. But the person has to pay attention to who your audience is and how people speak, how people communicate to you, what they talk about. If the guy is sitting there just talking about himself for the first one freaking hour and can't give you a chance to say, hey, how was your day? You already know, a prima donna in the making. So he's going to take it from one extreme to the other. But 99% of what everybody says, I agree with, except for that one point in the business side of it. I just think we're there to form those alliances, to do better and maybe be positive in those people's lives and not carry on a selfish trait to form some sort of detriment to their own upbringing. That's my 2 cents.
I got you. Thank you, Leonard.
Hey,
Hey,
Koffe.
Koffe.
Yes,
Oh,
sir. Yes.
no, go ahead, Jason. You say something.
Oh, I was just going to say there was a question you asked. Thank you, Mr. Dixon. There was a question you asked. When you're in a relationship, when can that become abusive? The narcissism?
Right. Or when
Normally,
does it become a problem?
right, a problem. Excuse me. That's what the word I wanted to use. It normally starts to become a problem when that person you're dating starts getting a lot more attention than you. Think about what I just said. If you started dating a guy and he's, say, Slim Thug or Kanye or something like that, anytime you go out, he is going to be the center of attention, and people are going to start paying a lot of attention to you. At some point, that camera and that microphone, I'm sitting like you can actually see like I got a microphone or something, but it's going to be in your face, and you're going to start doing interviews, and you're going to start becoming possibly a big person or celebrity yourself. Then all of a sudden, y'all break up and you start dating someone else. Same thing happens. You still used to date this superstar, so you're still somewhat popular. But now they're starting to put the mic in the other guy's face, and now he's starting to get more attention than you because maybe he was already a businessman. Now you got a problem with it. You see what I'm saying? Maybe not the strongest example, but I've noticed that a lot of times when you have someone who's somewhat or has strong narcissistic traits, they cannot stand when that other person gets more attention than them. You know what I mean? It starts to create some serious challenges.
That makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Go ahead, Charles. And then we'll go Jason Williams.
Okay, sure. After listening to all the fellas, what came to mind to me as another angle as to why this term is being propelled the way it is nowadays is because, in my opinion, I think we are living in the era of the victim. And I say that to say, think about the pandemic. When the pandemic hit us, yeah, it was unfortunate. People's family lost lives and different things like that. But there was also a wave of scams. People started scamming all over the place. Any opportunistic area, it was exploited, and it's still going on. And so I say that in the relationship realm, sometimes, and I say this, I find myself saying this all the time, but it's like, I get it. Emotions get involved, feelings get involved, but I think some of us are just loving lazy. When I say loving lazy, we encounter people that we know we don't match with, or we know we've seen a red flag, we've heard something that's off track that we know doesn't align with the way our psyche is when it comes to relating, but something says, well, I'm gonna hang in there with Pastor Jay, and he's going to change, or this woman is going to do this, and we think that we can force our ideals on people, and when that doesn't work, now it's like, wait a minute, I'm all out of tricks. What can I do now? Let me look into the closet. Out comes the big narcissist, or whatever. You're toxic, whatever the case. And so at the end of the day, we as grown folks need to take accountability for our decisions and choices and people we choose to entertain. If you are being intimate and you know you're not built to handle the intimacy, don't have it, right? If you are trying to have these conversations about marriage and offering the distance, but if you think the person is taking you along for the ride, get off the bus, ring the bell. It's your choice. We grown. No one is handcuffing you and making you do anything. But it's just that I just think nowadays we're hurling these insults and words around in our circle when we're just not being honest with ourselves and our own intent as to why we like being entertained by that person. Let's just be honest. Narcissistic people are entertaining. I'd rather somebody be honest and say, I like being around this person, because they get on my nerves when everything is going right. But when I don't get my way, I have a fit. Just be honest with that. But there's something, like Taylor May said, there is a star quality as to why you're attracted to that person. Just hang on to that and be honest with that. And let's just, some of this stuff can just begin to do away with if we just take ownership. Now, if someone is being, abused on another level or something, then that's something you reach out to help, or to a friend or someone to say, hey, I'm having a struggle here. But most people nowadays in this dating circumference, they're making decisions to deal with this person and that person, and they're just choosing to see if they could win the battle. And if they don't win, it's a war of a different type. That's the way I see it happening today.
I ain't Pastor Jay, but let's raise for offering.
Right, literally.
Yeah.
Jason Williams, hop in, and then we want to go back to Pastor Jay and Taylor.
Well, I know for me, it's a little different, because I'm sort of like Taylor. I believe when it comes to personality traits, we all carry a little bit of them all. And I understand that, especially being someone that does a lot of various different things, and in most of it, I lead. So for me, when I looked at the traits, I was like, oh yeah, I know I got a little bit of that. I got a little bit of that. I can see that. But I think the difference between myself and someone that would be labeled a narcissist is the fact that I have boundaries. I have limits. I set boundaries. I set limits. I try to be conscious of others, regardless of myself. But at the same time, I also believe with what Charles just said. A lot of times we get into situations that we just aren't ready for. And a lot of people jump into a relationship and have that ideology that, yeah, I'm going to change this person. They're going to be the perfect person. For who? Because there is no perfect person. There is no one out there that you can mold and shape into your perfect mate. That doesn't happen. I tell young people, especially when they're about to try to get married, I said, what's the thing you hate the most about them? And just imagine that about 1,000 times worse. Because when you get married and have to live with them, that's what it feels like. Right now, you're dating. You can go to your house. I can go to my house when I don't feel like dealing with you, and we be in separate rooms. But when I have to deal with you on a regular basis, on a daily basis, and I can't go anywhere, yeah, that drives the fire up a little bit hotter. But if you're dealing with someone that's narcissistic, they have an intent to be different. They have an intent to either break you down, or an intent to make you feel like you can't live without them. That's what I feel like a narcissist does. They have the same leadership traits. They're charismatic. They have the ability to gather people and lead, like Taylor said. But their intent is not to lead them towards empowerment. It's to lead them towards what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Idolization, I guess. I want you to idolize me. I want you to throw all your energy into me. And when you don't do that, now I got to break you down so you feel like your life is worthless without me. That's not life. And if you allow yourself to sit in that, then is it really the narcissist or is it you? Because yeah, they have a low self-esteem and they use you to build their self-esteem, but then clearly you have a low self-esteem because you don't see it and you keep going back to it. And I'm just leave it right there.
Ooh, wait. Taylor, come on with it.
Yeah, so you know,
And then
it's just so
and Taylor, when you get done, Pastor Jay's gonna hop in.
absolutely, you know, it gets so funny because we're talking about narcissists and we're talking about this young lady, and there's so many people that's listening, and you know, my heart goes out to people that's dealing with this situation with somebody that is diagnosed, right? Because remember, the word gets thrown out so many times, but the person has to be diagnosed by a professional physician, by a doctor, right? So we can say yes, this person match up your traits, but oh my goodness, I'm getting so excited because what we fail to you don't understand what we fail to look at is the other side. So we have the person that's the narcissist that you're saying this person narcissist, but usually narcissist and empath meets. Right now, I want everyone that's listening to my voice, everything that you've been taught, everything that you see on social media, what have you, just throw that out, okay? You have the empath that positions their self to be found by the narcissist, right? The narcissist hunts, but the empath have to position themselves. See, empath can smell narcissists a mile away. Hello, somebody. Look, it's not a one-way street, right? But we don't understand empath. And a lot of people gonna be like, well, I'm an empath and you ain't talking about me and all this stuff. Empath have the reverse mindset of a narcissist. Now, what I mean by reverse mindset, I'm an empath. I care about you. You know, I understand. You take on their emotions. And when somebody reject that, how do that empath react? That empath reacts like a narcissist. It's reverse. And so you have usually empaths and narcissists intertwine and connect. They're made for each other. You know, it's really a messed up way to look at this situation. But most people that say, I don't know how I end up with a narcissist, ask them if they're empath. You never see two narcissists come together. You usually see an empath and a narcissist come together, right? They feed off of each other, right? So that's one concept, okay? Second concept, and I'm gonna pass it to Pastor Jay. Second concept is that there's something about this individual that you're attracted to, right? And it's usually, like we discussed, usually narcissists are people that's in the forefront, people that likes the attention. They know how to command a room, right? They know all these things. And so that individual is being looked at as somebody that I want to connect with, right? So they look at their physique, they look at the way they carry themselves, they look at their charismatic skills, they look at all these things, and they're attracted to. Why are you attracted to this father figure? I'm going to say that again. Why are you attracted to this father figure? You know, a lot of people get beat, right? You know, there's people that are true victims and there's people that love to be victims. Hello, somebody. There's people that love to be beat. Let's talk about it. You see, we don't want to have that conversation, right? There's women and men that like to be choked. There's people that like to feel pain. Let's talk about it. Anyway, I'm going to stop right there because I know we're getting close to time. Pastor Jay, I'm passing it to you.
Oh, wait.
Why would you pass it to me after you said that, bro?
1-800.
I felt something choking me just now. I just went back. I said, Lord, let me get out of here. But here's the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand, because it's funny that we're doing this show today, because I was talking to someone the other day and they told me I was a narcissist. And when they said it, I was like, whoa, what you talking about? But then once I started researching it, I said, I am. But what a lot of people don't understand is most narcissists, that's just a character that has to be created to live in the space that we're in. Because if you're going to survive, especially in this world, in this climate and culture that we're in certain positions, it's almost like you have to have a little bit of that in you. But you have to mix it with empathy. You have to mix it with, concern. But at times, I do got to let you know I'm that dude. Like, yo, and that's what attracts people, because no female wants no guy that's walking around talking about, I don't know who I am. I'm unsure. I think I'm that. No, you want somebody that's going to talk that talk when it's time to talk that talk, but also has to know when to tuck it, because a real leader doesn't have to talk all the time. Just my presence and my posture, me showing up in the room lets you know it's something with this dude. And I don't have to turn that on unless I got to turn it on. And when I turn it on, I'm going to turn it all the way on, because sometimes you just got to be that person in certain spaces. But when I'm not in that space, I'm not that guy at all. I'm the direct opposite. Like when I'm in performance mode, I love the camera. I love, but like I'm on tour right now. I just got a new single that's out. It's so uncomfortable for me when people come and pick me up from the airport and they're blasting my music. I'm like, yo, turn that off. I don't like all that. And like when security is walking with me, and I don't like all of that attention. And people would look at me and the persona that they see on social media, and they wouldn't believe that. They think that I'm into that. They think, yo, and what people have developed with a lot of us that are in that space is cognitive dissonance. You could present them with factual information that's not who I am, but because seeing you in any other light is uncomfortable for them and it doesn't fit their narrative, because that's the thing that we got to discuss too. What is your narrative? And if you keep looking and finding, listen to what she said, I keep finding the same type of guy. So that means you're looking in the same type of place. This is why people didn't like Kevin Samuels, because when the young lady called and said, I want a millionaire, he said, hold on, sis. Do you even know any millionaires? Do you even know where they hang out? Why would someone that is of that stature lower themselves to come down to where you're at? And everybody was so offended. But think about it. If I am at a certain level in life, there's just certain things that I'm not going to do anymore. I don't want to be around ratchet. I don't want to be around where I got to be patted down to go into a joint to eat. I want to go to 5-star. I want to fly first class, because once you fly first class, you will never want to fly coach again. But people's opinion is limited to their exposure. And it's not my fault that I have experienced what I've experienced and then have to be labeled as arrogant and I have to downplay who I am. No, how about you come up? How about you come up? You want to sit at the table with me. How about you come up to where because I refuse to come down to where you are, because I bust my tail to get where I'm at. And anybody that got a problem with that, it is what it is, because I'm not going back.
That sounds a little narcissistic, though.
It is. And here's a prime example of me turning it on, because people need to know that at some point you got to stop being a victim, because you are at where you're at because of choices that you have made. Period. Point blank. We can tuck it and try to cushion it as much as we want to, but each and every one of us on this panel made some decisions in our lives to be better, to go after our dreams, not to just talk about it. We got tired of being window shoppers, and we did something so that we could actually obtain what it is that we saw. And now that we have it, why do we have to apologize? Why do we have to downplay who we are? Act like I don't know what I know. No, I'm that dude. I am. I really am.
Hey, Peacock.
There is some narcissism right there.
I'm turning it back off now, y'all. I'm turning it back off.
Hey, Peacock, and I'm gonna pass this over to Taylor really quick. Pastor Jason made me think of something really quick. So on this topic, something that people at home may want to think about, and we all could think about this, but do you think this characteristic is innate or is it created? And I only say that because if you think about it, there are many platforms out here today that we've seen people that are otherwise shy, low key, not on the camera, but you put them in front of all these platforms, they transcend into people we don't recognize anymore. And so, perfect example, that show, Love and Marriage Huntsville. Perfect example about a married couples, right? So I know you may not have seen it, but there's this one couple that started the whole thing out. The woman on the show was like very Southern, and she's the good wife, all those things. But as the show transitions and trouble and different things and the separation occurs, she's an entirely different person now because stardom didn't hit everything. She got all this exposure. She's totally different. So I'm only saying that to say sometimes is this thing we're talking about something that we think people are just, you come out being this way, or is it something that's just kind of morphed for some reason?
Definitely morphed. Definitely morphed.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because I think you said something that made a lot of sense. It was, Pastor Jay said the same thing. Basically when I'm over here and when I'm in this particular scope, then I become this particular being. But when I step out of that scope, then back to this part of my personality. This part of my personality shines more than this side of my personality. But yeah, I think a lot of it does have to do with our exposures. But go ahead, Taylor.
No, I'm saying, and sometimes people enable you to be a character that you are not, right? And that's why celebrities have such a hard time. It's just like for myself, off camera, I can't tell you how many people say, man, you're down to earth. Like, you cool. So my question is, what are they seeing on camera? Are they seeing this straight, rigid, well, maybe not rigid, but like
straight narcissist crazy man?
And you know what? I don't care, like Pastor Jay. Look, it is what it is. But when we're having a one-on-one conversation, they're like, wow, like you don't have any preconceived notions of me, and you're very open and accepting. And I'm like, yeah, but that's how I am on camera. But maybe, like I said, people see that and then they enable, like they want more, and that's why celebrities, you see them either take their life or they go off the deep end because the crowd or your friends. You ever seen people change when they're in a crowd, like a friend, like all of a sudden they become like the center of attention, and you hear women would say to the guy, like, why do you behave like that? Why do you behave like that? But when they are one-on-one private, it seemed like they're a different person. Their personality is not that personality when they're in front of a bunch of people, right? And so I think that, like I said, we all have these different traits, but some people have it more, and that's and the ones that have it more tap into the disorder of that personality, right? And let me say this, a lot of times people that are with narcissists, you're right, it comes from their childhood, right? But I believe by doing a lot of research, they're trying to save somebody. And so you might have somebody that's with an alcoholic, right? And this person get upset and beaten, and you find out that their father was an alcoholic, but they wasn't able to save their father as a little girl, right? And so now they're playing it out at their older age, trying to save this grown individual because they see their father in that person, right? So it's very, this thing, man, you can skin this so many different ways. And I think it's in kids, it's in adults, it's at the jobs, it's at the homes. It's everywhere. But like I said, I love this conversation because I really study narcissists. And let me just say this for the record, Pastor Jay, you're not the only one. I've been called a narcissist, turning down a relationship with a young lady. in the most how should I put it, empathetic and gentleman like message. I've saved that text, and that was the turning point with my business, P Coffee, is that when that young lady told me that on a text right after, and I got the whole text, right? And I look at it sometimes. I ask all my friends, what do you think about me? Like, do you think I'm a narcissist? Like, it started bothering me. And for the record, for those that's listening, narcissist is not going to check themselves, right? Because it's a disorder, right? A true narcissist, it's a disorder, so they can't see it. We think, and I want to say this and I'm done, we think that narcissists sit out and they plan. They don't. They're normal human being that have a disorder that they don't know. So when you're saying that you're a narcissist, they don't know. They're looking at you puzzled. It's the disorder. They're not sitting here saying, okay, who's my next person that I'm going to entangle and I'm going to make their life miserable? No, they don't. It's no different than an empath. An empath feels that they're helping the world. A narcissist feels that they are leaders. They're the greatest. They are smart. They have the ability to take you from point A to point B. So when you're dealing with these individuals, don't look at it as, they're out to get me. No, you just got in the way of their journey, right? And so what you have to do, if you realize that you are in the way or you got captured or however you want to say it, is to get out. I tell my women followers, is to get out. And let me tell you something. When you're entangled with a narcissist, it's cobwebs, right? I'm telling you, man, it goes from mental, then it goes to finance, then it goes to everything. I mean, it's a web that is thrown out there, and once you get tangled in that web, it is hard to come out, and you got to literally leave everything behind, change your number, your social media, all that stuff, because it's serious stuff. Anyway, I don't want to take too much time. I'm TaylorMade Speaks. Back to you, Koffe.
Woo. Taylor is fired up about this topic.
Yeah, because you know what? Like I said, that lady, she was Pastor Jay. She was a blessing, and y'all, she was a blessing in disguise for me. That lady that said what she said to me after, like I said, I turned down a relationship that she wanted to pursue. It opened my eyes and it really got me fired up. Sometimes some people, you say negative stuff and it just fuels them. Well, this really fuels me. So that's why I dived into being in toxic relationships and dealing with narcissism and what have you. And like I said, I eat, breathe, sleep this stuff. So anyway.
Taylor is, I tell you what, this right here, y'all, take this. He needs a hug right now. You need a hug, Taylor. You really need a hug. You was from choking, then you really, I think, Taylor, you need a hug. You need a hug.
That's a plethora. That's where that word goes right there. The plethora of emotion.
A plethora. Listen.
Yes.
But I love it. I love it. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal, guys. Thank y'all for being here tonight. We're already at the end of the show. It's literally 10 o'clock Eastern time, 9 o'clock Central. That hour went by way, way, way too fast. We have got to go for a round 2 for this topic because, we didn't even get into the thick meat and potatoes of the discussion about this. And I'm glad that so much light was shed on what narcissism really is, how it really plays into a relationship, how we all have some aspect of our personality that encompasses this type of behavior. But like you said earlier, Taylor, none of us have had a diagnosis which suggests that we have a dysfunctionality associated with it, more so than we just have to be cognizant of the parts of us that can cause issues, not only for ourselves, but for somebody else. So with that being said, everybody, thank y'all so much for being a part of this week's edition of The Hot Seat. As you can see, we got all these handsome fellas in the building supporting the ladies and really trying to help the young ladies out there who are in social media land, who are going through this, who are struggling with this, and really not certain as to how to get out of it. So when we have the segment again, I want the guys to give us some solutions. We've talked about the problem, but I want us to tap into the solutions and how we can really add value to these ladies and give them some resolves and some solutions on how they can be more effective in their quest to become partnered with somebody special. So again, guys, thanks so much for being here on tonight. And when we get off, guys, everybody that is on for tonight, you'll be able to connect with them directly through the chat. They'll be putting their information in the chat. If somebody resonated with you and you want to connect with them and kind of maybe talk a little bit further, I got some certified coaches in the building tonight that can add value to you. And of course, you know, Taylor is Toxic Bay. He is a Toxic Bay coach, like for real. It's not even a joke. That's his real life. Pastor Jay is a certified coach. Charles is certified. I don't know about Leonard and Jason and the other Jason. Now I know Jason Williams does some coaching as well. Leonard, I don't know. Leonard is a best-selling author, but I don't know about him doing no coaching or nothing like that. I don't know.
Don't limit my skills. Okay.
Don't limit. Oh, listen here. He said, "Don't limit his skills."
I'll take you back to Germany and leave you right in the middle of Hamburg and go back south and just enjoy the sun.
Y'all heard that, right? Everybody
Yeah.
on here has heard that Leonard is gonna take me to Germany and drop me off. Y'all, everybody heard it. So if y'all looking for me, you know where I'm at, okay?
Right. But speed up on that language.
Right? All right, everybody. So again, thanks for tuning in and tapping into this week's edition of The Hot Seat. I am your hostess, P. Coffee Brown, and we've had a dynamic, powerful discussion with these incredible men. So definitely be on the lookout for the information about how you can connect with them, maybe collaborate on something. If you want to connect with them, hit them up. Let them know that you appreciate them coming on and doing what they do to add value to the ladies. With that being said, good night, everybody, and we'll see you all again on the next edition of The Hot Seat. I'm your hostess, P. Coffee Brown, and we are out for now. Peace and God bless.